Do you want to save money and make your own herbal extracts at home that you can use in your skincare formulations? You can not only make herbal extracts at home, but you can also do herbal infusions for your products, which add even more benefits. Buying extracts online can get expensive, and if you look at the ingredients and color of the extract that you can get from big suppliers, it's very weak looking. Most extracts that you get from ingredient suppliers are usually made with glycerin and water, which doesn't make a very potent extract. I don't know about you, but when I'm making products, I want my products to work, and the extracts. I don't want them to be weak, watered down versions with no benefits. I'm going to show you how I make most of my extracts for my skincare products. For the sake of this video, I'm going to keep it extremely simple. We could go way deeper and get way more technical over different plant materials and ratios, but I don't want anyone to get confused. And FYI, there are still times that I buy extracts from suppliers because I just don't have a certain plant that I want to use, or I'm strapped for time, but the quality is always so much better when I make them at home. To give you an idea of the money you could save, I have several products that I use calendula extract in, and I sell a lot of it, so I need to always have a lot on hand. So I make 2 pounds of extract every 4 months. If I were to buy that, it would be around $130 with shipping, and it would be a very weak extract with a shorter shelf life, since it's only glycerin and water, and they typically use a preservative. We don't need a preservative because alcohol is our preservative. But making it myself, I can make 2 pounds of calendula extract at home for around $23, and so can you. And not only that, you can also use the herbs for other things. It may seem more like more work on the front end, but it can save you a lot of money in the long run and can make it easier to scale your business. So let's go over what you need. You will need some food grade vegetable glycerin, which is extremely cheap, and some alcohol that is at least 50% ABV, alcohol by volume, or higher proof. I use Everclear, and I will explain why in a minute. You're also going to need some fresh purified water and an amber glass bottle for storage, and a way to label your extract. You're also going to need a strainer and a nut milk bag or a way to fully strain your herbs. You don't have to use glycerin if you don't want to, but it also has extracting abilities and it adds a bit more humectant properties, which are great for the skin. If you want to use only alcohol and water, that's totally fine. It will still be very effective. I made a quick extract reference to follow. If you want, you can screenshot it. Now, if you are using an alcohol like vodka that's 50% ABV or 80 proof, then you don't need to add any water at all because it's 50% water and 50% alcohol. I don't recommend using less than 50% alcohol or 100 proof. Or less than 80 proof even 40% alcohol. Stick to clear alcohols like vodka and high grain alcohol, or even food grade ethanol, which I will be linking all of that. And if you're going to be using fresh plant material, which you totally can, that's fine, use at least 80% alcohol for the whole extract, as the plant material already has a lot of water in it, and so you want to just don't add any more water if you are using a lower proof alcohol. And for dried herbs, you can use alcohol that's lower proof too. You're also going to need a glass mason jar in the size you want to make. I'm using a 12-ounce jar. You can go as big as you need. You're also going to need an herb that you want to make an extract with. The scale I'm using is optional, but I recommend it using the scale initially. That way you can make the exact same extract every time. So you're going to weigh everything you put into this jar, and it's going to always be the same every time you make it. It'll just be easier for you to remake it over and over again. I will also link where to get some herbs that I like to use for making my extracts. I'm using licorice root just to show you the process, but here are 3 other different types of plant materials just to give you some ideas, and ones that I use all the time. In the first bowl, we have green tea leaves, the second one is pinyon pine resin, and the third is calendula petals. And for resins and like hard woody materials, you want to use a higher alcohol percentage because they're a bit harder to extract. But what I want to show you in this video, you can pretty much apply to any plant material. Today is essentially a 3-part extract with water, glycerin, and alcohol. The licorice root is already chopped up, which is good. So what we're going to do is do a 1:5 ratio of herbs to the whole jar. So I always recommend this ratio for dried herbs. So you're going to turn your jar sideways and you're going to count up to 5 on the side of the jar. And we're going to fill up to the imaginary line that's 1. This is enough herb that'll make it strong enough to extract without it being too strong and too dark of a color. We don't want our extracts too dark as they will change the color of our creams. Not overly potent either, as the risk for irritation can go up. So if you put your jar on the scale and fill it up with herb to the 1 part line, you can see how much that weighs on the scale if you're weighing it, and you can write it down. And now you have a baseline to go off of if you remake this in the same jar. You're gonna just weigh out that amount of herb. You don't have to do anything else. You can also eyeball it. You don't have to weigh it, but I like to be exact every time I make it. Okay, first we're gonna add our alcohol. I'm gonna fill this up about 1/3 of the way since we're doing a 3-part extract, which equates to around like 35% alcohol content. Again, you can do just water and alcohol if you want, but I wanted some glycerin in this. I like using all 3 for a well-rounded extract. And then I'm gonna fill it up with 1 part glycerin. So I'm gonna fill it up for the next part with just glycerin, and then the last part will just be water. Now remember, if you are using a lower percentage of alcohol, like 40% alcohol by volume, then fill it up 2/3 of the way and then add glycerin on top because it's already about 50% water. And then get a square of parchment paper and put it under the lid before you seal it to keep it from evaporating and to keep the lid from rusting. And then give it a really good shake. And make sure you write down the date and the exact contents of what's in the jar. So the herb, the date, and the weights or percentages of each ingredient that's in it. That way you know. You can also print out something. Like I use my printer and I will print out little labels and put them on my jars. And that way I know exactly what's in it, the expiration date, and the date you're gonna mark is gonna be the date that you made it. And then we're gonna let this sit for 4 to 6 weeks and shake it up every couple days. You can strain it at 4 weeks if you want, but really that's all the time you need. I have another extract that's ready to strain, and for straining you want a really fine strainer that you can use a muslin cloth or a nut milk bag. This extract is for my own personal use, so I'm not wearing any gloves here, but you definitely want to wear gloves. Then for storage, we're going to put these in amber glass jars. You want to store these in a dark, cool space that will help them last a long time and stay fresh. These will last up to 2 years in the right conditions, and the more alcohol content you have, say 50% alcohol content, it can last several years. I personally don't like to use any extract over 2 years old as the quality definitely degrades over time. And some other plant materials that you can extract are gotu kola, mulberry leaves, moringa leaves, hibiscus, chickweed, the list goes on and on. And another way you can use these herbs that you already have on hand for making extracts is by gently infusing them into your oils. I love doing oil infusions with lavender or green tea, and it's a way to naturally add scents to your cream or balms, and we will be covering that soon in another video. Another bonus of having these extracts on hand is that if you love herbal tinctures, that's essentially what these are, and you can use them on your own for, medicinal benefits. So if you like herbs, then taking tinctures is really cool too, and I personally really love doing that. So that's another added bonus of having them on hand. I hope this video was helpful. If you want to learn more about herbs, follow us on Instagram, and we will be using these extracts soon in formulas. Thanks for watching, and go try something new today.